Ramon, we always say that South Africa is a distinctly Christian country. It holds itself to Christian ethics, and most people grew up on Bible stories. You know, I'm going to preach to you now. I know how you love your Christian theology, so I'm going to preach to you about a story. It's from Second Kings, verses 4:1-7. And it's basically a story around a woman whose husband dies and he's got a lot of debt and she has nothing to her. And she speaks to the prophet Elisha and she basically says, I need oil, like oil to cook with, olive oil. And she's like, I got no money for oil. And he's like, well, I'll tell you what, go to everybody's houses, get their oil, their empty oil containers, they're like jars, and just start pouring into these jars. And don't worry, as long as you believe, that oil will keep flowing. And she does. She gets her jar and she starts pouring in the oil and she fills up all these jars everywhere. It's a miracle. Her Christmas troubles are saved. I sometimes wonder, like, do we take these stories a little bit too literally in South Africa? Because this kind of it all follows a news article that I saw this week. And I know we're going to talk about this, but there was a town in Durban. Yep, that shithole Durban. We all know that place. Where apparently the JoJo tanks ran empty. And in typical fashion, they were like, how dare these Dojo tanks run empty? Like, don't they just magically refill themselves? We are going to show those JoJo tanks. And how are we going to show them? We are very angry with the lack of water in this place. So we're going to set the JoJo tanks on fire. That will fix it.
Yeah.
And I had to it just reminded me of this biblical story because I was like, do these guys just think these things like just refill and they magically respawn and bloop, they're there, brand new? I didn't really see the logic in this.
Well, I mean, Byron, of course they don't just like spawn out of nowhere because that same community who burned down the JoJo tanks now wants them to be replaced. And apparently, that community who burned those down are extremely sorry about what they did and therefore asking for forgiveness. And therefore, they are requesting replacements for the tanks that they themselves, well, destroyed. So, yeah, there's your answer.
We all saw the story on Twitter, right? We all saw it. And everybody was like, hey, can you believe it? These guys are upset because their JoJo tanks ran empty. JoJo tanks, which if I recall correctly, were given to them by the gift of the givers. So the gift of the givers already gave them a gift. And they were like, nah, we don't want that gift because it doesn't just self fill up. And it's like, and I was saying to you before we recorded this, like, you ever been to a township, man? Like, I've patrolled townships. And those guys don't know how to turn off taps, man. Like, you should see the water wastage in that place. How much do you want to bet some prick left the tank tap on?
Yeah, I mean, the problem is it's not like a township issue. It's this issue where you get things for free, so you don't respect it. And I think that's a
Yep.
large part of sort of South African life where the government does, the government does produce some form of service delivery sometimes, right? But because it's done for free, i.e., you're not paying for it, the respect towards that infrastructure or that JoJo tank or whatever it might be is severely limited because there's no skin in the game by the people living in the area. But so what they do is they destroy it and then they ask for more. But personally, Byron, and this is just, I'll put my conspiracy theory hat on, I think this was a coordinated effort to make the Oppenheimer richer than ever before. Because some people may not know, the Oppenheimer family basically own Jojo Tanks, the company. Like they paid a lot of money for it a few years ago, and they own most of it. So maybe the Oppenheimer family paid these people to destroy their own Jojo Tanks. That could be, a theory.
So they can get new JoJo tanks.
There we go. I mean, just think about it. Like,
Mm.
listen, if you are like, I don't know, Apple, right? What is the best way to get more phone sales for iPhones? By the whole
You
wanton
make your old ones
destruction.
obsolete.
Well, yeah, but that's like for rich white people. But like for everywhere else, you just like destroy everything that you make in the first place, and you just increase the demand and lower the supply, and therefore you make more money. So maybe the Oppenheimer family
I
are,
think
this is a little scheme. I mean, I need to speak to Juju about this because he knows that family better than anyone else.
he
But this
knows
is
them very well.
once again, the whites taking advantage and making more money from the poor black South Africans.
Well, we did cover this in a news article before, where black on black violence is racism. And I do wonder if black on Jojo tank violence is also now deemed to be racism. And maybe it's all part of a white conspiracy theory to improve more white monopoly capital by improving the sale of the white man's Jojo tanks. And, we all know that they could all just follow Elisha's model and just have a Jojo tank that self fills, but they won't do it because, they're just trying to hold the poor black man back. So I don't know, man. Like, what can I say?
Yeah, I'm just going with the theory that the Oppenheimers are paying people to destroy a JoJo tank so that they can sell more to like the cities and stuff to replace them. I think that makes the more logical sense because the alternative is just too racist to consider, so we won't even talk about it.
You know what's funny, man? Like, everybody watches, and you know what? Like, I watched that video too. And if you haven't watched it, like, we'll link it in the description below. Like, you know what was funny about that protest? Is the whole protest was watched by the entire community. The entire community watched these idiots take these tanks, roll them down a hill, and set them on fire in protest for having no water. And I suppose the first thing that came to my mind watching that was, how are you going to put the fire out? Because you just burnt the tanks.
Good point. Good point.
So I was like, didn't really think this one through, did you? And the whole community was cheering it. They were like, oh, this is a great party. And every person on Twitter was like commenting on this, going, how much you want to bet tomorrow morning they protest again? They protest because they got no water and no JoJo tanks. And you're like, and everybody was saying it like almost tongue in cheek. And then the very next day, the news article comes out. Our community asked for new JoJo tanks. And you're like, oh, man.
Yeah, I mean, I
We
think
really do live in a stupid place. You know
oh,
that?
we do. Absolute shithole country. Donald Trump was right. Donald Trump was right, which is why we like it, by the way. Don't immigrate. But I mean, I think that the real lesson here is consequences are the direct result of your actions. Right? We are taught this in school as young children. We are taught this in church. We are taught this from our parents. Well, some of us. We are taught this in churches and religions and like sort of any real civilization around the world says if you can't take the consequences, do not take the actions. But it seems like we're still missing that key element and that key lesson in South Africa. It happens with our voting patterns where we vote for the same people over and over again and then protest because they don't do their job properly. We, burn the stuff that is built for us. Then we complain that it's not existing anymore. Like sometimes, my dear South Africans, we need to just take a bit of responsibility and think to ourselves, maybe we are the bad guys here. Maybe we are at fault here. And once you have that responsibility and that skin in the game, that's when you can grow as a human being. Because if you keep talking about other people and blaming other things, you're a piece of shit. And you'll always be a piece of shit. If you take responsibility, we will help you build yourself. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah. Much like News 24, please pay us £1,500 to get told
Yeah.
you're a piece of shit.
But I do mean every word of that. I think it's true.
Well, being serious about it for 2 seconds, it's like that idea, though, that you're talking about there. It's a distinctly Protestant idea, which is why it was probably fitting for me to quote Kings. Because the whole idea of Protestantism is that you should take responsibility for your actions and look to improve to yourself. Every day you improve slightly better because you want to achieve the divine ideal. So in one respect, I gotta side with Juju on this. Like maybe with the decline of religious fervor in the West and the rise of neoliberalism, and with the rise of all the, should we say, critical theories, gender theory, race theory, all the other bullshit, people have stopped taking responsibility for their actions, and it's kind of like the give me attitude has kind of got out of hand, and it was just so obvious that you could see this. Jojo tanks that ran out of water. Yeah, probably some prick didn't even bother turning the damn thing off. You ever been to a township? You've seen that. So what do? Do you go there and try like be cautious about how you manage your water? Do you go try and get new water? Do you even ask for those tanks to be filled? No, you don't. You set those tanks on fire. Why
Yeah.
not?
As long
And
as
then when the tanks are finished, you go ask for new ones. Like,
And like, how about you just find the person who's wasting your water and just beat him to death? Like, you solve two issues with like one thing, right? One action. Like, that's the way to do it. But no, we have to destroy everything else. Like, come on, it's pathetic.
I
We are
agree.
better than this as people. You and I have traveled the length and breadth of this country. The people, South Africans are great. But just like think for yourselves a little bit, please. Then we'll really be something special. Anyway, enough with that.
And then all that's going to happen is
Hmm.
And then all that's going to happen is next week they're going to get brand new tanks, and then those tanks will run out of water because that guy who's waste water is going to keep wasting water. And then are we going to set these ones on fire? And then are we
Yeah.
going to ask for new ones? Like
Yeah.
it's like the well that never runs dry.
I know. It's like giving pocket money to a heroin addict. Like, oh no, he spent it on heroin again. How can we solve this? Oh, I know. We'll give him more money. Oh, come on.
Give them
Just
more money.
take the heroin away or give the
You
money
could
away.
always you could always just take the Joe Biden approach and just give them free crack pops.
Well, I think this is the Joe Biden approach right here. Free JoJo tanks. The more you destroy, the more they are
This is the Joe
replaced.
Biden approach.
Anyway, yeah, enough of that. If you want to advertise with us, just check out the pinned comment. And also, if you want to become a member, give us a little bit of money every month. You have 2 exclusive Zoom calls to members only on this very channel. Once you become a member, there will be a members community tab at the top of the screen. Click on that. All the details are in there. And with that, Byron, any further notes from you?
No, I really, really do appeal to your good hearted nature. Please do consider becoming a member and stop me from being a victim of internet sabotage. My internet speeds in rural England is not very good, and I really do get tired of "my victim internet" comments. So it would be great if you could really throw me a bone, become a member, and help this poor underprivileged man, this poor underprivileged person who cannot even afford good internet. Stop being a victim of internet Karens.
I cannot agree more. Thank you for watching, everyone. See you in the next one. Have a good one. Cheers, cheers.